Hi, everyone. There's a title up there, but as someone said, Michelle said she doesn't like using PowerPoints. And sometimes, when you're doing these things, you go with the flow of the room. So I am going to talk about how business can support the community, but following on from the other speakers who are tough acts to follow, I tell you. But I'm going to do my best. So I want to talk a little bit about myself and the work that I've done. And there's so much, one of the things I notice as well, and it's good to see some stalwarts in the room, Yvonne Thompson, and many others that we've worked with. I mean, I think I met Yvonne Thompson about 2000? Let's not go there. But we have been supporting, and others in here have been supporting small business development for a long time, And I started off capacity building micro businesses and SMEs in Southwark and Lambeth and across London. I set up my company in 2003, limited company, and then I wanted to work internationally. I got an award, Southwark Businesswoman of the Year award, and I wanted to see what was entrepreneurship like in countries in Africa, the Caribbean. And so I started to do that work, which was really, really interesting. And I worked in the Far East as well. And it was just interesting seeing how the business culture is in those places. I was born in Tooting in South London, and I went to Jamaica at 10 years old. My family were the kind of people who didn't want to stay in England. They sold up and they left. And when they went to St. Thomas on the East Coast, anybody here from Jamaica? Oh, nice. Evening. Anybody from St. Thomas? All right. Come on. Not to worry. Press on. Anyway, so St. Thomas is on the East Coast. And my parents set up a big restaurant and bar and stuff on the East Coast. And I thought to myself, I'm never, ever going to go into business. I was in Jamaica I went to secondary school then before I came back. And I thought I'd never go into business because they were working so hard. Every Saturday I had my chores to do to take stock and all that kind of thing. And holidays, summer holidays, never had a summer holiday. I had to be in the restaurant. But not me, never. Didn't see them really take a holiday. And then the rest of my family came down. One of my uncles even imported an ice cream van, a Mr. Whippy. And so it was kind of cool, a respected family and all that kind of thing. But I thought, not for me. So I came back here, went to university and stuff, studied business. Don't ask. And I thought I'd just focus on marketing and stuff like that. And then I found myself being drawn towards enterprise. And I was thinking, God, I have a lot of, what do they call it, unconscious knowledge, if you like. I was thinking, how come I knew so much? Anyway, then it dawned on me, your whole childhood was in that kind of space. And one of the things I learned about business, growing up in that space, the relationship we have with our customers is most important. If you don't have a customer, you don't have a business, And I wrote a book recently, published a book last year, and it's about developing customer service in the black-owned business. And I got a lot of pushback. One very prominent businessman, I was talking to him on LinkedIn, and he said he'll review it for me and write a thing. I sent him the book. He said, there is no problem with service in the black community. We run very successful. And I said, yes, of course we do. But there are areas of our business community where it's a bit problematic. And he laughed and he said, well, I'm going to cook shop them. I said to him, well, it's a cook shop, they're type board. And he was like, cha. And he didn't review the book. The book's written in a storytelling format, and it's, as Michelle was saying, it's told from my point of view. It's aimed at the actual people who run these businesses, and I'm hoping to get it in audio format soon. Pushback I get from people, why you attack people business, why can't you, if you have a problem with a particular business, why you attack to them, all this stuff. And I'm like, no, it's not about that. There's little cook shops that we see. They've had a borrowed money, paid the money, family have lent them money, they've remortgaged their house. For some people, it's their redundancy money. I've supported many businesses who've gone into business with redundancy money. And I'm proud to say that many businesses I supported are still active 10, 15 years later. But I think it's important for those small businesses, are kind of the meat and bones, I suppose, of our community in a way. It's important because when those businesses shut down, which they do quite frequently, families suffer. You know, they have children, you know, they have families, and people then are owed money, and it's not a good thing. And we don't deal with failure well in this country. In America, when you fail, they say, right, it's an opportunity for you to go again. I think we take it much more deeply, any kind of failure. So yeah, the book is available on Amazon if anybody wants to purchase it. It's an interesting read. And it is a business book, but it's written in a very sort of gentle way. There's a love story, but it deals with the key issues around starting a business. And it encourages us to think about our customer and the customer experience. And even the BBC, Real McCoy, did the sketch Misery Cafe. I don't know how many of you are old enough to have seen it. I mean, even I laugh now because it's hilarious, right? But even today, I see TikTok films about post-service. So it's not changing, is it? And it's not good. I don't think it's good. Anyway, so another thing I'm looking at the moment is intergenerational trauma, leadership and self-compassion, because I became a product of burnout. Who was it earlier when I was talking about Bell's palsy? Claire. Yeah, in 2013 I got breast cancer, and it threw me completely. Sometimes it's not just the illness, your confidence goes, and you just think, what's the point? You go through a lot of different emotional changes in yourself. And for a while I lost my confidence. I was like, well, if you're gonna die, what's the point? And when I was asked to do stuff, I was thinking, nah, I can't be doing anything else. I can't be getting involved in anything because I'm not gonna be here for much longer. But anyway, that was 2013, and here I am. And it's been difficult. And I really appreciate JC for inviting me. I've been working with, doing a few bits and pieces, but I've been also a consultant with the Ability Initiative. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're an organisation which provides support in the third sector, in the Black and minoritized community sector. And what I've been doing with them is around enabling social entrepreneurs to trade. So social entrepreneurs are people who run a business with a social aim or community organisation. And I'm not sure how much Black businesses actually support community. How many of you give to charities? Just shout out, what charities do you give to? Are they big international charities or small or? Okay, just checking. Because I've heard people say that, I've heard prominent Black businesses say that they feel that the Black charity sector is lazy, you know, grant money is not money earned. Many people, when they become successful, they've left their social housing and they move out into suburbia, and they don't really look back. It's funny, I didn't ask Wilfred a question, because he was saying his place was a shithole. He was saying, where he came from in Birmingham. But I was wondering if he invested back into that area. It would be interesting to know, wouldn't it? But I should have asked that question. But yeah, so people do, and of course, why not? You know, if you're earning more money, you can afford to live somewhere nice, so why wouldn't you? But, and I think that there comes sometimes a disassociation when people move away from their communities, or the communities of birth, let's just say. And then there is a degree of arrogance I've come across. I've come across people who say things like, well, you know, I was raised on an estate with a single mother and I made it, you know, CEO of some health authority. I made it, so can anybody else. And, our circumstances are not always the same, even if we were all born on a housing estate or something. And so I'm not sure I've got fear there, but, so I leave that. Yes, probably, yes. So one of the things, yes, JC was saying, probably a fear of them loaning money to those organisations, trusting that the money will be used properly. So in terms of the social enterprise sector, 74% made a profit or broke even last year, and 47% of social enterprises are led by women, and 31% of social enterprises have directors from Black, Asian and minority ethnic backgrounds. 72% of social enterprises said that they were a living wage employer, and 22% of social enterprises operate in the most deprived areas of the UK. So it's a growing sector, and it's also quite an innovative sector. They come up with really good ideas. And 2 in 3 social enterprises expect their turnover to increase, and 61% expect to recruit new staff into posts and increase the level of training over the next 12 months. Some of the organisations I work with at the moment have really blossomed through what's called the Enterprise Development Programme, which I manage. They've come from, some examples are one in East London. They provide support to women around domestic violence, various issues to do with women and women's health, mental health, and so on. But they've also opened a cafe, and the cafe sells Somali cuisine, and the hope is that she will introduce Somali cuisine to the wider community, and that will bring money in to support the work they're doing with women in the community. And they do a lot of work. It's a big project, actually. And so that's just one example of how people can trade to bring in extra income. Does anybody in here belong or is involved in any kind of community organisation as a volunteer? 3 people, 4. So who would consider volunteering if you knew more in your Black community? Not many. Interesting. Very interesting. Not many of you are interested in the social enterprise sector. What do you think? You think there's no money in it? Is that what it is? Yeah, somebody said yes. Okay. There is money in it. As I said, as I alluded to earlier, it's a dynamic movement. It's at the forefront of economic recovery at the moment. And making a profit will make a difference, as I demonstrated one organisation, how they do it. A lot of these organisations focus their energies where it's most needed in our community, because there is deprivation. And COVID has really exposed the inequalities in society. So our communities really do need you, business people, to be more supportive if you can. There are opportunities for you to support globally. You don't have to limit yourself to the United Kingdom. People import from other countries and form partnerships with organisations elsewhere that people they can benefit from you buying their goods and services and selling them here. And it's also very strong in the public services. There is nearly always inclusive and diverse leadership in the third sector, and there are jobs and they pay fair. And I feel like you're missing out by not thinking about investing. And let me tell you how you can probably think about getting involved. There are several investment programs. And so by investment programs, I mean you can put money into these third sector organizations and get a return for yourself, okay? So you're not just, for those of you who think you're just giving your money to waste people, or whatever you want to call it, There are opportunities for you to actually invest and get a return on your investment. And so I see people taking notes. Yes, take notes furiously and look up these organizations and see how they do it. And later on in the year, I'd like to have a meeting where we could possibly look at setting up an investment program with Black businesses where you're contributing to your community and building your own community. That's what I'd like us to think about. So if you're interested in doing that, please do get in touch. And around about October time, I'll tell you what the date and where and how you can access this meeting. Please look at any of these organizations online. I think it's really important that we consider those in our community who are not as well off or as fortunate. And this old adage that I did it, so can you, it's not true. It's not always true, you know? There's so many externalities, there's so many reasons why, even if you were on the same estate, there's so many reasons why everybody is not always able to make it. The current program I'm talking about that I've been supporting is funded by Social Investment Business and Access to Foundation for Social Investment. And they give £30,000 and a whole range of support to these community organizations. So as investors, you can seek out funding networks through your local government entities. A financial consultant can help you to make the most out of your investments by helping you define your expectations and goals. And there are numerous online communities that can help connect social venture and interested investors. But what I'd like you to consider is becoming part of a Black investment group that supports people in your community. So everything is being challenged. Somebody talked about a knowledge economy earlier. I think it was Bibi who talked about change. You know, knowledge, nothing's the same as it was before. Everything's changed now. We have to move with the times. Grant income is, soon going to be very scarce. And so we as a community are going to have to take some responsibility for supporting those people in our community who are vulnerable. We can't just sit on the sidelines and say, when we do it, me no want to them, or people are lazy and feckless, or whatever it is that we've been educated to believe about our own communities. It's not good enough. We have to do more, because the opportunities for grant money, they just won't be there in the same way going forward. You can see what's happening with this government. You can see the people who are coming forward as PM, who may look like us, but the policies that they will implement will not be of any benefit to the poor and disadvantaged in our communities. And I'm speaking to the Tories in the room today. I know many of you are in here today. I know you're here. Thank you.